guys, so this week's episode of The Flash was, how do you say, a filler episode? It wasn't very exciting, that was expected since we had such an awesome episode last week, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things to talk about. First off, let me say that I missed part of this episode because the CW thought it would be a good idea to cut to commercial right when Killer Frost was making Caitlyn go on a slip and slide. Literally, the moment Caitlyn fell down, they cut to a commercial, they played the damn commercials, and then it came back and Cisco was talking to Barry saying like, oh, you can only take one punch. CW, what is your problem? So I totally didn't see what happened from where Caitlyn fell to where Cisco and Barry are talking. Apparently, Zoom killed Killer Frost, and I got robbed of that. Thank you, CW. Now back to your regular scheduled programming. So, did you guys catch the birth of Jesse Quick? No, she didn't get her powers, but Harrison Wells, when they were having the father-daughter moment, was all like, oh, my Jesse Quick. Oh! That's right, Cisco ain't coming up with no name for freaking Jesse Quick because Harrison Wells was like, I got this. If you guys saw the episode, you know Harrison Wells found his daughter, they talk, she didn't want anything to do with him, he gets captured by shitty villain, she helps save him from shitty villain. Basically it, the villain sucked in this episode, so there's not really anything to talk about. The main thing that happened out of all of that is that Jesse is now back on the team and it looks like her and her dad are gonna be on good terms. And since Caitlyn's gone, they totally need her. Speaking of Caitlyn, we saw that Zoom wanted her to be at home on Earth 2, so he let her out of her shackles and she got to walk around. That's when she saw her doppelganger Killer Frost. We see Caitlyn break Killer Frost out of her cell, and that's when Killer Frost betrays her and is about to kill her until Zoom shows up. This is what you saw, not me. Zoom shows up and apparently kills Killer Frost because she was gonna kill Caitlyn. From there, we see Caitlyn shackled up again because, well, she's a naughty girl for trying to help Killer Frost escape, and Zoom has to lock her back up. Caitlyn just keeps saying that she wants to go home, and this gives Zoom the bright idea to, you know what, Caitlyn, I'll take you home because my new goal is to conquer worlds. Motherfucker's gonna conquer worlds with his new speed. So, yo, Barry, you wanna get your powers back, please? Which leads me to the best part of tonight's episode, and that is Harrison Wells telling Barry that he's gonna help him get his speed back by creating another particle accelerator explosion. Holy shit, are we about to get Flashpoint? Probably not. That's more than likely gonna happen in the movies, and I'd much rather see it on the big screen than on TV. That doesn't mean they won't take elements from that story. If you guys have read Flashpoint or seen the Flashpoint Paradox movie on Netflix, you know that Barry lost his speed, and he has to get it back by recreating the same way he got his powers in the first place. By using chemicals and electrocuting himself until he becomes the Flash. This is basically what Harrison Wells is gonna do in the next episode. Now, is Barry gonna mention that chemicals were involved? He fell onto those chemicals when he got electrocuted, so it's gonna be really weird, and Flash, do not mess this up. It'll be really weird if Harrison Wells does this particle accelerator explosion and no chemicals are involved whatsoever. At that point, Barry could get other powers, or maybe he gets even faster because no chemicals are involved. I think they're really gonna stick to the storyline, and somebody's gonna have to mention the chemicals because it would kind of just make, you know, wouldn't make sense. I do think next week we're gonna see Barry get his powers back, but the episode's gonna be all about drama because it could kill Barry. I think he's gonna go through all this dramaticness and then freaking he's gonna get his powers back and Zoom is gonna show up at the end of the episode. And we still won't know who Iron Mask is, I'm just saying. But I wanna tickle your guys' brains a bit with a question that I get a lot in my YouTube live streams. People always ask me, Juice, how do you think the Flash is gonna beat Zoom? Usually I say something along the lines of the team's just gonna help Barry figure out a way to beat Zoom and that's how it's gonna happen. But since the last time I said that, Zoom has gotten like 1 billion times quicker. So I think he's gonna need a little bit more help. Maybe from some more speedsters? Juice, what do you mean? Let me tell you a little nugget. I used to have this theory that at the end of season 2, Flash and Zoom were gonna get into a freaking fight and they were gonna go and they were gonna explode Speed Force all over people's faces. And Jesse and Wally would get caught in this force and that is how they would get their powers. I actually never thought that would happen, but I thought it would have been freaking awesome. Now we know Harrison Wells is gonna recreate a freaking particle accelerator explosion on next week's episode. What if freaking Wally and Jesse are in the vicinity of this explosion and that is how they get their powers? That's right, is it possible that next week we will finally see Wally West and Jesse Quick get their powers? They could also do a weird storyline where only Wally and Jesse get their powers, Barry doesn't get them back, but Wally and Jesse need to beat Zoom to help Flash get his powers back. Totally not gonna happen. So the biggest question is, how would this work? Because we know Barry became the Flash with chemicals and the particle accelerator explosion. Logically, you would think that Wally and Jesse would have to be exposed to the same stuff. Well, let's go ahead and try some different theories. Let's talk about Jesse first because she has a little bit more interesting information. One, we know that she's been injected with V9. So what if when the particle accelerator explodes, the V9 somehow activates in her body and that's how she gets her powers? Number two, did you guys pay attention on the trajectory episode? Did I still say that wrong? Anyways, at the end of the episode, we saw her disintegrate and her suit was left behind, and Barry took that back to Star Labs. Jesse Quick would already have a suit because she could just modify trajectory. Why can't my brain say that? Trajectory? Fuck it. Moving over to Wally West, his situation's a little bit different because he hasn't really been exposed to anything. We all know he wants to go fast, but so did Ricky Bobby. You don't see him becoming the Flash. The way I see Wally West getting his powers, if this does happen next week, is it has to do something with him traveling with Zoom to Earth 2 and traveling back. Maybe he absorbs some of the Time Force and that gives him his speed, or something ridiculously crazy like that. One thing you're gonna have to remember is if Jesse and Wally do get their powers next week, why wouldn't everybody else get powers as well? Because you know Joe's gonna be there, Iris is gonna be there, freaking Barry's dad's gonna be there, the whole family is gonna be around there, and all of them would end up getting the Speed Force too if, you know, there's not other explanations for Wally and freaking Jesse getting theirs. That's why I think the V9 in Jesse might be a big factor, and maybe the Speed Force somehow getting into Wally's system is also how he would get his powers. Guys and gals, those are just my theories, and of course, I want to know what you think. Will Barry, Wally, and Jesse get their powers on next week's episode? Do you think we'll ever find out who the man in the iron mask is? Lastly, do you want to see Flashpoint in the TV verse or just the movie verse? Let me know in the comment sections down below. Side note, you guys have been going off in the comment section on my last video, so I might be giving you a bonus Flash video later this week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can catch that Flash video and all other things nerdy and geeky on this channel. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with all your speedster buddies. As always, guys, I am your host, JUICEbox. Remember, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself something. Have I had my daily dose of juice? See you guys next time. Bam!